We're live.
Yankees don't suck.
I know. No hard hats tonight.
I loved starting it this first show off that way, but I can't do it tonight.
I know.
Red Sox situational. Baseball sucks, though.
I know. We're back with another version of the Fenway Report, Garden Report 2.0, covering the Red Sox game here. Red Sox lose 4-3 to the Yankees game 2 of the wild card series, which means a do or die game 3 tomorrow for both teams. And we'll get into that obviously
on the line.
well. Yeah, but first off, we have to talk about tonight's game, and there was a lot going on here. And again, that's the beauty of playoff baseball, right? Every little thing matters, and you can sit here and scrutinize and grind over everything that the Sox did and didn't do, and
we will
quite a bit of it. So we'll get into all of that for sure. We do want to let you all know at home that the show, well, it's not the Garden Report, really. It's the Red Sox Report. Is brought to you by our pals over at Prize Picks. Pick more, pick less. 2 or more players, up to 2,000 times your cash. It's that easy. Download that app today, America's #1 daily fantasy sports platform. Download the app, use code CLNS, get 50 in your lineups after you place your first $5 lineup. Once again, download the app, use code CLNS, get 50 in your lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, run your game. And of course, our pals over at Game Time. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Use that code CLNS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. You want to head to the Bronx tomorrow? Do it. I'll look up. We'll see what the tickets are going for right now. Game 3 should be a lot of fun. Red Sox, Yankees. And that's it. They pushed it to the brink. So let's get into this game here. And I think, guys, you have to start in the 7th inning. And granted, you don't know what happens if the Sox do push a run there, but the ultimate squander, you get 2 men on in that inning. And there's a lot more that preceded it, but this is what everyone's going to kind of circle and look at and scrutinize. You get 2 men on, nobody out. And, Rafaela can't lay down a bunt. And
can we talk about that?
For the life of me, I could do an entire hour on how in the world these unbelievable athletes who can hit 99 mile an hour fastballs that are, with 20 inches of run, can't square and get a freaking bunt on the ground. It is just brutal. The decision to bunt, you can scrutinize that. That happens. And then later in the inning, you have a situation where Yoshida comes in, singles, great play by Chisholm to keep the ball from going in the outfield and certainly scoring a run from second. But you've got the massive brain freeze from Eaton or the third base coach, whatever it was there, not understanding the situation where you just got to run through there and score. Ball gets away from the first baseman. That was an easy run and an easy lead that the Sox squandered. They end up giving it up, there in the 8th, and they go on to lose 4-3. That 7th inning, I think, is what we're going to be looking at here.
So I want to start with the bunt. Here's my issue with the bunt. I don't. At some point, they just stopped learning. These guys just stopped learning how to bunt. Would you agree with me, John? Like, there's no. I don't know.
Jimmy, how many
do guys lay down bunts in batting practice? No,
Jimmy,
I never see it.
How many times we go there, we watch batting practice, we watch them warm up, and the bunt is a joke. They're like, okay, for first 2, and
they're like mid having a conversation, like throwing a couple bunts down.
It's been a pet peeve of mine my entire life. I'm like, but anyway.
You can't practice a bunt in soft toss BP. You just can't, because when the ball's coming in at 98 miles an hour and there's movement on it and there's 2 men on and it's a clutch situation, everything's changed. It looks to me like Rafaela had never laid down a bunt in his life. Honest to God, I'm not even. Bobby, maybe you can correct me. Has that guy laid down a bunt this year? Because I'm willing to bet he's never laid down much. I'm willing to bet he's never laid down a bunt in his professional career, based on what I saw tonight. So that's why I hate the call. If this was a batter who knew what he was doing up there at the plate, and you knew that he was going to lay it down a bunt, my buddy texted Dan Friedman on the show last night. I think it was the first comment. He goes, bunt here? He called it. This is during commercial. He called it. They were going to bunt. I was like, I just don't think anyone knows how to bunt anymore. And sure enough, what's he do? He He completely misses on the first one.
Google Gemini says that Ceddanne Raphael has 0 sacrifice bunts in his professional career.
There you go.
Yeah,
So
I can't
there you go.
remember.
And it honestly looked like it. And so that's why I hate the call, John. Cora needs to know. Yeah, maybe in a perfect situation, you get a guy up there who's a veteran and he knows what he's doing at the plate and he can lay down a bunt. And we've seen it before. Fine. You can go ahead and try to make that call. Fine. A guy who's never done it before in that situation, I hate the call. Not because
and
it doesn't
he's
work.
jabbing at balls off the plate. This is very easy.
He's not even close.
The guy's gonna throw you balls. You take them. Just take the walk. It should have been 2-0. He's stabbing at balls that are off the plate. Understand, at least have the discipline. Like, this is basic. You don't try to bunt breaking stuff. You bunt fastballs that are right over the plate.
He didn't have any discipline. Do you see the ball he checked swung on? Did you see the ball he checked swung on the ninth inning tonight? The last second strike. Oh my God, that was in the dirt and it was practically in the stands. And they still got him for a strike on that. So he wasn't seeing the ball right tonight. You should not have been bunting. Bobby, anything on the bunt? Because I want to move on to the next thing, but I want to give you a second.
Mentioned before the 7th, you had the Duran non-error.
Oh my God, I don't even know. What can we
that
say?
just is what it is. I mean, I when you get into the decision making in this game, and the more and more I think about it, I don't love it here. This is where it starts with this call here. And let's say he did get it down. Let's say he did move the guys over. What are you doing with the bullpen after that point? That's where this game got away from them too, is I don't think they had enough arms after the early decision to pull Bayo. And I didn't mind it at the time because it didn't look like he had it. You go all in on this game and you win it. You get to rest everybody and you play again on Saturday. So they went all in here and we like that approach. But then you get to the later portion of this inning after the bunt fail and you don't send Eaton. And that's where I get lost on what the approach was in this game, because you're going all in to win. You're being aggressive. You win game one doing that. And then eerily reminiscent to that awful loss in extra innings against Baltimore where they had kept them on third on a sac fly. They could have won the game. You hold them again here and he would have scored, right? They bobbled the ball at first and it got away from them.
He would have scored. He would have scored from first, Bobby. Yeah. I mean, that's how, listen, with 2 outs, you're just going. I mean, isn't that what you're doing? You're going. It's 2 outs. If it was 1 out, maybe I can see a little bit of hesitation there. Keep the game going.
It's stunning. Going. When we were, I was watching with my friends and everyone's going crazy. They, ball got away there after Jazz screwed up the play. It's not even a thought in your mind that he wouldn't have scored.
I think everyone's watching the broadcast, and it was a poor broadcast moment because they didn't even tell us. Nobody had a clue whether or not he scored. They didn't pan out. They didn't look to third. Everyone's screaming at the TV. He scored, right? He must have scored. He had to have scored. Nothing. And then you find out in the replay out of the break that he was. I don't know whose fault it is more. I almost want to give him 50-50.
It looked like a glimpse at the third base coach who looked like he was like, go a little too
late. He froze. John said in the text, and he's right. He froze. He should have been waving his arm so freaking hard that it should have flew off his body.
Circumstances. It's Eaton,
2 outs,
fastest guy, 2 outs, like you said, and you're going all in to win this game.
Eaton went
go there.
Eaton went from second to home last night in record time. And then you hold him up on a play that is getting booted around and bobbled around all the place.
Was that Sogard?
Sorry, Sogard. Okay, you're right. That was Sogard. I'm getting my Sparky guys confused. But regardless, let me say this: I'm willing to bet he would have scored even if the first baseman didn't. Even if they didn't bobble it at first, Bobby, because making that transition from first to home, making sure it's the throw is perfect. Assuming that the slide is on the outside, there's a good chance they would have scored even with a clean play at first. So I, for the life of me, can't figure it out why he wasn't getting sent. That should have been something the batter knew off the bat he's going. And I think the third base coach, again, you should have been waving his arm so hard that it should have fallen off.
He would have scored, right, John?
100%.
On that play, clearly. Here's the thing. It is a little bang. I understand the hesitation because you're trying to see how far that thing gets away. I mean, if he fields that cleanly and he goes, I don't know that he's 100%
it's close.
safe. So,
but isn't it worth it? Isn't it worth the shot?
That's always the reason you go, like the sac fly earlier in the year. If you guys remember
make the play.
game.
But John, these guys, they can't hit. You got an opportunity to score, you take it. They can't hit. Look at this lineup. You get a guy.
It's what Willie Mays Hayes did on the Jake Taylor bunt. He just keeps going, and Clue Haywood goes to
and this
goes
is
to
a
argue
Yankees
for a
team
split
that
second.
tosses the ball
He
around.
turns and waving him around, and
Right,
Willie Mays
Bobby.
Hayes
Yes.
scores. That's how
You
it
almost
works.
have to
Yesterday,
assume there's a
too.
chance they're going to bobble it.
The decisive play yesterday was Sogard going to second, on the little bloop single, just being aggressive. And you hesitate there and it kills you. And, you still maybe have a bullpen debacle after that. It's hand in hand with the bunt thing. You just completely screwed up the seventh here, along with the other side of it. This is tough. I mean, you had to put this game away tonight. You went all in on the bullpen and everything else. And you just couldn't execute in key spots. And that's the thing, like, They killed themselves here, right? The Yankees didn't go out and beat them decisively.
Right.
If that's how it went tonight, you just sit here and tip your cap. The Sox really beat themselves. That was bad.
Yeah, so that's the problem is, they beat themselves. We mentioned the Duran play. That's a routine ball. I mean, he made it hard. And it's chest high. I don't know how they called that a hit. Doesn't
And
matter.
He's diving.
That'll get changed.
I don't know what's going on there.
It's just really just bad defensive baseball there. And then extremely bad fundamental baseball there in the seventh. And yeah, you choked it away. That game was there for the taking. And you could tell the Yankees were a little nervous. They were a little tight. They should have been able to get that in there. But if you go back to the start, I think that's one of the big problems here is game 3, if you got there, was going to be your kitchen sink game because you don't know what you're doing. You're going to start a rookie, and Cora confirmed a short while ago that it is going to be Connor Lee early.
Cool. Against the Yankees rookie versus rookie.
Yeah.
But that felt like it was going to be the quick hook 2-inning, 3-inning kitchen sink game, and you almost acting, I wouldn't say quite as an opener, but you're really ready to throw every arm you had at it. And then you did that today because Bayo couldn't get out of this the third inning. This was a really disappointing, especially after Giolito goes down. You need Bayo to pitch like a number 2 or a number 3, and he pitched like the guy you're starting, that 4th or 5th starter you got to throw out there because everybody else is spent, and you're just praying, but you're ready for the quick hook. And you can't have that as your number 2 starter. A guy you're just, you're not confident in and gets pulled as early as he did. That was really, really the killer there for the Red Sox. And they still could have won for all the reasons that we mentioned, but Bayo put them in an impossible hole, not just for tonight, but for tomorrow as well.
Yeah, so this goes back to the trade deadline. And what a better example than a 3-game series to show that if they had gone out and gotten a service of I'm not saying go out and get Joe Ryan. However, if you did, guess what? You're going to the ALDS. But you don't do that. You do nothing. You go and get a guy that's not even on the roster in May, and you and then your second best pitcher gets hurt, which you have to plan for these situations to occur. You can't just assume health. So Giolito goes down. Unfortunate timing, and there's absolutely nobody else because you did nothing at the trade deadline at all. When fans were begging, saying, you're a pitcher away, you're a batter away, they didn't have to get Joe Ryan. It would have been great if they did, because 2 studs in a wild card series is an almost guaranteed advance to the ALDS. It's almost a cheat code. So go out there. This should be Exhibit A on why they need to go out and get another legitimate starting pitcher in the offseason. Because if they had done it at the deadline, we're talking about the ALDS right now on this show. They didn't do that. Bayo goes in there, gets rocked. We've seen enough Bayo games this year to know that I actually think Cora did the right thing. Cora was not fooling anybody in that Yankees lineup. I don't think he had a single strikeout. They were hitting the ball all around the field, whether or not their runs showed or not. Rice came into the game, blasted one off of him, and it wasn't going to get any prettier. Based on what I've seen from Bayo this season, I think Cora did the right thing. What's unfortunate is that Whitlock, a guy you've depended on all year, just didn't come through for you tonight. I thought the rest of the bullpen did a good job.
That's where I get stuck on this one because he was so good in the first inning. Then you push it with the second, and that's kind of what happened. I mean,
you were looking for 2 innings out of him tonight. He just didn't come through. I'm not
2 innings. I think they had to have been looking for minimum 3. You can't get through the freaking order without giving up a couple hits.
No, from Whitlock.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were on Bayo. I'm like, what the hell are you guys talking about?
The Bayo decision leads to Whitlock later.
It does, but Whitlock does his thing. We're all commending Cora for, giving Bayo the hook and depending on the bullpen. I still think the majority of this bullpen can pitch tomorrow. I don't think anyone really went crazy. Maybe not
Whitlock's
Whitlock.
out.
Whitlock's out, but then you go to Chapman again.
Yeah.
Totally pitched one out. I mean, Toley's a guy that can give you 4 or 5 innings if you need to.
I predicted tonight. I predicted that.
That was such a killer too.
I thought if Bayo,
who cares? He pitched one out, Bobby. They can easily go to tomorrow.
I thought if Bayo got a short hook, he was going to flip it and go to Toley because the Yankees put in their left-handed lineup, and go for 3 innings there. And that's
they went with the lefty. It just wasn't him. Yeah,
maybe that's what they should have done.
That's what I thought was going to happen.
I wonder if it. Yeah.
That's why I was asking you guys because I was watching a little bit behind.
It wasn't a bad prediction.
What they did worked. That Wilson comes in and Matz and all those guys were
great.
I'm saying.
Slayton
even.
They did it. They did everything right.
And Slayton was so good in that inning.
They put themselves in a position to win. The players didn't execute. I'm not going to fault Cora for anything. I don't think he stuck to Whitlock too long. I think this is the best arm I've got right now. And I'm trying to get through. I'm trying to get through this. And sometimes it works. Sometimes
I don't even
it
know
doesn't.
who would have gone to 9th, Jimmy, to your point. He wasn't going 3 innings. And I don't know what the plan was there. So that's, when you look at the mistakes in the 7th, you're like, oh man, that's where they could have, at least had an insurance run or gotten ahead. But what are you doing with the bullpen after that? It was just decision making on the fly, and that's what they had to do. It's where the roster's at. It's where Bayo left them, and it's such a killer because he was so good all year, and he put them in a brutal spot.
Bayo,
I don't think anyone had a problem with him.
Bayo stunk the last month plus of the year, Bobby. I mean, this was a Bayo game that I was hoping wouldn't happen, but you just don't know what you're going to get with Bayo. One game looks like he's lights out. The next game, he looks like he did tonight. And you can tell pretty early on, this guy's going to blow up on you. I think Cora knew it. I give him all the credit in the world. It took guts to take him out.
It was a short leash. He had a terrible September, and just really
it's stunk. You don't even use Harrison.
After being lights out, for basically the entire summer, June, July, August, he was just terrific.
Blew up in September, and he's not back, clearly. So I don't know if he's tired. I don't know what the reason is, but he failed them tonight, definitely. I think, again, going back to the deadline, I think front office or ownership failed them a little bit here because what are they? They're a player or two short. They're a bat short. They're an arm short. This Yankees team is
short.
But John, to beat the Yankees, they're not. They could still beat them tomorrow. I'm just saying,
they could.
They're not that far away.
They're doing it with spit and glue. They're really hurt. Just the guys they lost throughout the season. Obviously the Devers trade, and then you're losing Anthony as well. You lose Meyer. You watch this team, right? And I'm like, when are the good guys going to come up? And it just never happens. You know what I mean? It's like, and Bregman's been slumping for a while too. So it's just, there's nobody in that lineup that you're fearing right now. So they got to scratch it out, and they have to play near perfect baseball. They can't play bad fundamental baseball as they did in that 7th inning there, and as they did there with Duran. You can't give away runs. You can't squander opportunities when you have a team on the ropes, and that's what they did. And they're just simply not good enough to make up for those errors, even though the Yankees aren't a great team either. And that's what ended up obviously burning them tonight. And it's a bummer because they really could have put them away.
Yeah.
That being said, and again, I don't want to move to tomorrow completely, but you're setting this up for an awesome potential story, with the rookie going in there that nobody expected to do anything. So I'm curious to see how that goes today. But this one's you're gonna be able to pinpoint all those things we talked about here, and
it's
be like,
very
oh,
easy.
Man.
It's very easy to see where things went wrong for them. And again, they could not take advantage of the base running. I mean, how many runners did they leave on base tonight, Bobby? I'm sure you can look that up. But they had so many opportunities. This Yankees bullpen is not good. Okay. It was difficult for Boston to not score in that 7th inning. It was probably harder for them to not score than it was for them to score based on guys getting on base, the way they got on base, the balls leaving the batter's box, opportunities that they had. They squandered multiple opportunities.
We've been on for 20 minutes, Joseph, but go ahead. Yeah.
I was like, have we been talking to ourselves?
You're on delay. Anyway,
you scared me. I was like, have we been talking to ourselves?
No.
Opportunities missed tonight. That's, and again, bad situational baseball. Not knowing how to bunt, not knowing when to, go from second to home and a tie game with 2 outs. Obviously the botched play in left field by Duran. I don't know what his deal is. Duran looks every bit the part of like a gamer, right? But then he kind
He's
of knows
great
it.
when there's no stakes, and when in a situation like this, he just disappears.
Yeah.
The
I thought
kind of
Bregman
guy
was.
he is.
I know Bregman got a hit, but he was non-existent tonight. To your point, John. Yeah, like where are the guys? Like where are they coming from? Three of their best hitters this year didn't start either game, and I know that they won last night. But if you're talking about Yoshida, Abreu, I'm not going to say Lowe's been their best
Yoshida
hitter
came
all year.
through again.
I know I'm not going to say Lowe's been their best hitter all year, but he's been one of their best players since he joined the team offensively. And those are guys that I understand you got to play the matchups, and it worked for them last night. Tomorrow you might see a different. I think you're gonna see a different lineup than you have the first 2 games here
Well,
because
this is where they're in a good spot, right? Because it's the righty for the Yankees and it's the lefty for the Sox, I believe. Right?
Walpole, Mass native.
Walpole Mass. I'll be honest. I love Schlittler. There's been a couple games where he's been rocked. He's been pretty good though overall. He's gonna crack the rotation for them next year, but he is definitely hittable. He is definitely hittable. You get that
Especially
left.
you got your lefties out there.
You
Yeah.
get your lefties out there again. I think Abreu and Lowe, they're gonna have something to do with tomorrow's game, just like the Yankees tonight. Who came up huge for the Yankees tonight? 2 guys, Ben Rice and Jazz
2 guys who
Chisholm.
didn't play. Yep.
2 guys who didn't play last night. So Boone screwed that one up royally because those 2 guys are legitimately like stars on this Yankees team. I can't see letting a matchup prevent either of them from playing, and he obviously learned his lesson. A little bit different than the Red Sox, but I think the Red Sox, those players are going to get their opportunity to get their
But
3
we'll
at
see
bats
tomorrow. Again,
tonight.
it's a lefty coming up there. Maybe just let them roll against a rookie, but he's going to have another tough decision. That was another interesting thing in this game. So he comes out to the mound. Rodon was okay. He was solid. It wasn't the greatest start in the world from him. Gives up the Story home run. But they're going to pull him early. And it looked like he talked Boone out of doing it. And he just gave them a little bit more rope after that. And he got wild there.
Got the double play, I think, right?
Yeah. So he saved Boone from another mistake.
He didn't have his pitch count wasn't extremely high at that point, So like
no, he was just doesn't look sharp.
Yeah,
right.
He was battling.
He did slip up into the 7th, and that's where the Sox got the bases.
He did, but he exited with only 91 pitches. Like taking him out in the 6th would have been a pretty early hook there. And again, considering what you did yesterday, and also the Yankee bullpen just being what it is, and it's so funny, it's just like everyone hates the Red Sox bullpen because the bullpen is the bullpen. They're second in the majors in ERA. They were extremely effective all year, and
I think there was like 2 guys that everyone hated that like they're just such a sour taste. I don't even want to say their names, but
because they're bullpen guys, it's
Wilson went out and got you 5 outs tonight. He was awesome.
I know that was crazy.
Yeah,
that was crazy.
He was good. Anyway, we'll continue on as we talk about this. Thank you guys for joining here on the Fenway Report, Garden Report, Red Sox postgame show, whatever you want to call it.
We're gonna get a name for this.
We're working on it.
I like that.
We're gonna keep going here. We won't make this too long a show with the loss here, but we'll be back tomorrow for Game 3 as well. Real quick, we want to tell you about our pals over at Prize Picks, and there you see it. Pick more, pick less. Yep, it's that easy to get in on the winnings. #1 daily fantasy sports app, Prize Picks, baby. I love it. And again, use that code CLNS. You see it on the screen. Play 5. You get 50 in your lineups instantly when you play 5. That's all you have to do. Once again, code CLNS, 50 in your lineups instantly when you play 5. Super fun, free squares. Great time of year to do it with so many sports going on. You got Thursday Night Football tomorrow. Great time to get in on the action. And we ask all the time, supporting our sponsors. If you do like to play and this is your bag, please sign up and use that code. It bodes well for us, to be able to make our sponsors happy. So again, check out Prize Picks today. Get in on the action. Lots of free promotions and squares and different ways that you can earn real cash today. So check it out. Prize Picks, run your game. Let's get back to it, guys. And again, we talked about everything that went off today. We can second guess all we want. Is there anything that you're seeing here that you're like, I wish they hadn't done that? Because I personally, at first glance, I'm not, but I don't know if looking at this game, Bobby, and you're like, I wish
Like a
they'd
moment
this, or
in
I
the
wish they'd
game?
that, a moment, a decision, anything like that, outside of the things we've talked about here.
Okay.
Yeah, it's so tough to disconnect any single thing from another. Like the Bayo stuff and the Whitlock stuff and that 7th inning are all pretty
Yeah.
connected there, and those are the big three. I probably wouldn't push Whitlock the extra inning there in full, right? He gets into the 40s or whatever it is. Maybe have him start the inning. Maybe you bring in Tolley at one point there. I'm trying to look at the matchups because it's a million lefties on that Yankee side. So you probably dedicate yourself to Tolley at some point in this game, whether after Bayo, like you said, John, or earlier in that 8th inning. But I just don't think there was a scenario where Whitlock was going to be able to get through that amount. And obviously you don't expect him to. The Chisholm at bat was really tough there. Some close calls. There were difficult calls in both the 8th and 9th inning against the Sox there. And obviously they hurt themselves in other ways before that stuff even happened there. But the Jazz walk killed them. He was a different pitcher after that too. Like he just lost his composure trying to keep Chisholm on there. You wish he wasn't as focused on first base when that was going on. Then obviously Wells rips it down the line. They got a pretty good throw in there on the slide, where Chisholm scores there. Eaton got a pretty good look at home there to strike him down. But when he goes across there, you're like, you shouldn't be losing because Duran dropped the ball. You should be tied at least if you send Eaton. So it's just so much stuff stacking on top of each other at that point. But it was tough to watch. It would have been even worse if Tolley gave it up after that and you didn't even have a chance in the 9th. But Jimmy, they were pretty uncompetitive in the 9th there too. Like Abreu went right down. Duran worked the full count. That was nice. And then Rafael was bad.
If you'll second guess one thing, why was Abreu not in right on that, instead of Eaton on what ended up being
you getting that
game-winning?
much better of a throw?
Yeah.
I don't think Eaton played it well.
True.
I don't know. So that was interesting. That was
and that's a killer. Like
that's a good point, John. I probably wouldn't have.
If you're gonna have Abreu on the roster, I know the bat's not where it should be, coming back from injury, all that, but you do want to take advantage of his fielding.
If you're a child of the 80s, you're always thinking about defensive replacements if you're a Red Sox fan. Okay. It's it's ingrained in your mind. We're like, where was Dave Stapleton? Like that's just impossible to not think of potential defensive replacements.
Yeah.
And this team,
so true.
the defense has killed them for a lot of this year and recent years. So it's pretty fitting a fielding screw up cost them in this one. It hadn't in a while. I feel like later in the season they were better defensively, but I don't get the Duran drop there. It was pretty baffling. He's diving. It's routine. It just
I don't know if it got caught in the light or something. Yeah,
I don't know what it was.
It was like
awful.
an awkward dive. It was kind of like an in between. Did he have to really dive or not? So
yeah, and then they treat it. John mentioned they call it a single, and they treat it like this heroic moment for Judge. They got exactly what they wanted there, and then I gave Slayton some praise for how he handled that inning. He did throw the ball in the dirt a ton and move a guy over to second to actually score there. So that killed them too, if you want to call that defense or whatever. So just so many self-inflicted mistakes. Guys just distracted on the mound, mistakes in the field, and a few coaching decisions you can question there. But really, guys just got to execute in the spots that they were in there. I think they lined things up decently. We all agree the Bayo pull was a good move, and it almost worked for them. And they just couldn't push guys across.
I think execution is the key word. Execution is the key word there. This team's just not talented enough to not execute. If they poorly execute, they're going to lose. They don't have 8 runs to work with in this series, right? They can't overcome basically an error in left field because it led to a pass ball and it led to a run. They can't overcome these things. They can't screw up 2 on with no out and come out of that inning with nothing, or bases loaded and come out with nothing. I know we already talked about it, but I'm gonna say like my biggest question is that Rafael bunt, because he looked like he had never bunted in his life. In that situation, just swing away. Are you that? I mean, I know these guys seem to love grounding into double plays, but are you that concerned about it where you have to blow
And I'll
one
say
like that?
again, let's say you squeeze across a run there. Is your bullpen lined up enough? It's the 7th inning. It's not like you're gonna like strangle the Yankees up one.
One run matters there. I think, Bobby, but I
One
do
run
agree
matters,
with
but just
I
put it
agree
in
with
the
Jimmy there. Like,
outfield.
you can't ask people to do things that they don't know how to do. Like,
It's a
We
mix
saw
of the two.
Rafaela. We saw Rafaela go opposite field to end the game and almost put it out of the park. Like, just tell him to hit it to the
Yeah.
outfield.
Especially where he's starting
Yeah.
to hit better. You know, you want
Much
him to
more
build on
likely
it.
to have success on a sacrifice fly than you are in a sacrifice bunt from a guy who's literally never done one in his freaking life.
Or just
So
walk.
that's the
You
one
know,
I
the guy's
question.
so far outside on those pitches too, where you try to bunt.
Right,
Yeah, take
mess with
another
him.
walk.
Yeah, pull it back. How about you look at a
no,
pitch?
I hate that. I hate when you
Execution
do
was
it
really
when
bad.
someone when you don't have absolute faith that the person can lay it down. If you don't practice it and you're not certain they could do it,
It's like, would you
don't do
have?
it.
Yeah, would you have like the wide receiver kick an onside kick? Like,
Yeah.
no, like that's not what these guys do.
Yeah, it drives me insane. It's always driven me insane. Anyway,
With a
we're gonna
punter,
look a little
I
bit.
should say, maybe.
We're gonna look ahead to Game 3. We want to tell you again briefly about another one of our sponsors. Quick here, Game Time. Check it out. Use that code CLNS, $20 off your first purchase. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets when you use Game Time today. Best seats, lowest prices guaranteed. Terrific app, intuitive, panoramic views from your seats, all in pricing, so there's no hidden fees at checkout. And it is just awesome. And another one of our sponsors here at the Red Sox Report, Fenway Report, whatever we're calling it. Again, download that Game Time
We'll
app.
have a name tomorrow.
Use the code CLNS, $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply.
106 tomorrow for the game if you want to head down.
Let's do it. Let's talk
What?
about tomorrow. Alex, what's that?
Where are you going, Bob?
106 for Sox Yankees tomorrow on Game
106.
Time.
Oh,
He's checking. He's checking it out.
Okay. There you go. Love that. Just tell him you're from Connecticut.
Tomorrow, Alex Cora has confirmed it. And this is an interesting story. And again, would it shock you if you got 5 or 6 quality innings out of this kid? It would not shock me.
No, not at all.
If he doesn't make it out of the first inning, also no.
Yeah, let's protect ourselves here.
No, I mean, it's just, it has the makings of an awesome story or a total friggin' disaster.
Can I get the early, like Bobby, John, I don't know, definitely Bobby. I know you've watched this kid. Like, what should I be looking for with early? Anything that stands out to you
He's
about
crafty, man.
Yeah.
His location,
pitches.
Yeah, his accuracy is awesome. He's only throwing 93, 94, so it's not totally. But he has 29 strikeouts through 4 starts and only 4
like
walks.
That.
That's
I like
what I'm
that.
impressed by. The guy, he can pitch. He moves the ball. In and out of the strike zone. He does a great job mixing his pitches, changing speeds, keeping people off balance. And you're right, it's not electric stuff by any means, but he's really, really, really been keeping hitters off balance. I've been really impressed by how well he pitches.
I like this
him.
stuff
I mean,
too. So he pitched in the Saturday game against the Tigers last weekend. Tigers obviously needed that win to clinch the playoffs. So, Detroit's going all out. He had 7 strikeouts in 5 innings. They got to him a little bit at the end with a couple hits, got 2 runs across, and he ended up losing 2-1. But he gave you 86 pitches, 7 strikeouts, 1 walk, and only 4 hits. If you give him any run support there, that's a good start. So, he's good in that game. The Tampa game was probably his roughest, a couple walks, 3 runs, only 2 of them earned. I think someone screwed up in the field or something. And then the 2 A's games were awesome. His first start out in Sacramento was amazing. 11 strikeouts and 1 walk. So he was a pleasant surprise late in the season.
Innings.
Striking out everybody. Again, at 93. So he's locating. He's got some movement. The guy's talented. I was pretty shocked to see what he was capable of early on, but this is a playoff game, so who the hell knows?
Playoff game.
It's tough to put a guy in a spot like this who's at this point in his career. It's
I would say
it's incomprehensible.
I would say almost everybody is available tomorrow, minus maybe 2 guys on that roster.
That's what Cora said after the game.
Okay. I mean,
Yeah,
that's
no Whitlock. Whitlock threw 47
yeah,
pitches,
no
which is
Whitlock.
insane. It's the most he'd thrown since June, I think it was, when he threw 20 something. So again, I mean, and that's the crazy thing about Whitlock is he's a really efficient pitcher. And he was battling tonight, but
He was
He
47
looked
good in the
pitches.
first
dejected in the
inning.
dugout after.
He's definitely out. He's definitely out.
Yeah, no, he's definitely out, and
Uh,
obviously Bayo, which is a good thing. But John, I think your totally prediction. I mean, that could be something that you see tomorrow. A guy came in for one pitch. I mean, one out tonight. Got squeezed, by the way, too. I don't think he threw a ball, even though they called a couple. I could see, how cool would it be to see like an early totally Sox win tomorrow, like a
So
little like
I was
taste of
going
the
to say that
future.
earlier. That's the story of the season, right? Veterans have had up and down years. Guys have been hurt, and these young guys have had to pick them up. And they've honestly been pretty good across the board. I know Campbell faltered earlier in the year, but Meyer gave you a little something. Then Anthony saves the season, and then these pitchers come in at the end and give you some awesome stuff. So this has been the story of the season. Sogard in the game one, Eaton at different spots late in the year. So these guys have picked you up again and again. It would be pretty fitting for them to do it again. And I just came across the stat today. No one's lost this thing since they created this round. Every team that's won the game one has won the series. Most of them have done it in two.
12-0, I think, right?
Yeah, so you don't want to be the first to blow this
Mm-mm.
1-0 lead.
No.
But they're in a dangerous position, obviously, after what happened today.
they are. So again, I'll put you guys on the spot. How do you feel about him tomorrow in game 3?
I just don't think the Yankees are that great. So I'm going to
They're not.
continue to believe in them. You're in a tough spot, but I believe in the coach still, the manager. I believe in this guy early to give you enough. Can you get enough hits? I mean, they have so far, I feel like if they, made a few plays late in the game on the defensive side and on the mound. So I do think they'll squeeze this out. If they don't, you understand why, given what they're putting out there tomorrow. But I'm gonna believe.
Yeah,
I feel good about them.
I'm gonna echo Bobby. This kind of felt like Patriots Steelers. Like Pats shot themselves in the foot like 5 different times and like still could have won that game. And that's how I felt with this Red Sox game tonight. If Pats get another crack at the Steelers, I'm taking the Pats, even though they lost. Same thing with the Yankees Red Sox tomorrow night. I know that the Yankees squeezed out. I'll say they squeezed out a win with some great base running, some timely hitting. Red Sox didn't. I think they're seeing and talking about the same stuff we are tonight. They're going to make some adjustments, hopefully. I'm just hoping, really hoping that the meat of this order, and I know I'm going to put meat in quotes because it's not exactly the meatiest piece of, not the meatiest part of the bone here that I'm talking about based on the lineup, but you got to get something from Story gave you something tonight, but you got to get something from Bregman. If Yoshida gets in there tomorrow, which I think he will, he's got 2 hits in this series
That's the
already
thing
as pinch
too.
hitter. There's the gong. There's the gong. The gong made a little appearance last night in show 1. We couldn't figure out where it came from. And Bobby admitted to hitting something, and there it is, proof. You got to get some power in this lineup. You can get maybe a couple cheap
feels
home.
like I know Story got one tonight, but it feels like they can't hit home runs. So you're just
Right.
slapping the ball around,
That's it.
praying that you can drive in runs. But yeah, you could use a home run. You could
And I'll
definitely use.
Sorry,
You
go.
could definitely use some of these lefties coming through. And again, Schitler's a righty, right?
Schlittler, yes.
Yes, he is. He's a righty.
So
Shit
that's
liar.
a big advantage. That's a big advantage you have tomorrow. Is you get to play your lefty lineup. The Yankees have to say again,
Walpole.
are we playing our lefties? Are we doing the Jazz thing again there, the Rice thing? It's early, so are they going to just roll those guys
Those
out
guys
there,
will
or
be
are
in the
they gonna-
game. Those guys will be in the game. I think you got to put your best bats versus your best bats at this
But
point.
that's good.
And just let the cards
pitching,
fall.
You're pitching more lefty-lefty if you're the Sox at that point. And John, if you're piggybacking Tolley, that's another lefty against those lefties in the Yankees
Right.
lineup.
And I think the difference, for me at least, will be the bullpen. I
and meanwhile,
trust the Sox bullpen more than the Yanks bullpen. So if it comes down to like both starters go 5 innings, I think both teams would be happy with that. But you still got 4 more innings to get into these bullpens. That's a lifetime. So
and you're hitting Ref Snyder lead off. This lefty thing, like it didn't work great. You mashed lefties all year with those matchups, but Ref Snyder did nothing. Romy Gonzalez did nothing.
Apparently, Boone said he's still not sure if Rice is playing tomorrow. Chisholm is. So again,
Boone
There you
clearly
go.
doesn't care about his job. He's like trying to get fired. If Boone loses tomorrow and Rice wasn't in the lineup and Chisholm wasn't in the lineup,
So
that's an
I'll say
immediate
this.
firing.
You would like to have Giolito tomorrow, but if he was diminished, and he's obviously a righty, maybe Early and Tolley together are putting you in a better spot tomorrow. I don't know. If at least from a matchup perspective, it feels like they could.
Yeah, it's possible. And I
But-
wouldn't be stunned to see it there. And I do think Tolley was being saved for that purpose. I think he's going to be a 2 and 3 inning guy. He only faced one batter today, so you're hoping he can come
He
back.
looked good.
But that's what I thought. I thought he was going to go out there and just pop your ears and throw 98, 99 and see if he can get 2-3 innings out of this and let's extend
Yeah.
it. So that's how I see it going, guys. Closing thoughts before we wrap this.
You know
one up
what?
here?
Well,
And again, like
real
I said,
quick
keep
before.
Yep.
Real quick before my closing thought, just getting Tolley out there to get a little taste of it, that might have been huge for him for tomorrow. Like he's been out there.
Not bad. I forgot. I'm sorry. I did want to add. There was a little Alex Cora sound here I wanted to play about tonight's loss. Here's Cora.
What did you see with Bayo that made you want to take him out of the game at that point?
Yeah, I mean,
Because he stinks.
it's a tough lineup. A bunch of lefties. I thought the bats were getting better, with the lefties, and we got a bunch of them in the bullpen, and felt like at that point, kind of like we have to do this. It doesn't feel good, because you want the kid to go out there and get his experience and pitch, deep into the game. But I felt like at that moment we needed to pivot.
And that was a lot of pitches for Whitlock. Was that more than you intended to use him necessarily?
Yeah, but at that point we're all in, right? He's one of our best pitchers. He just got up there, but we were doing everything possible to get to the top of the ninth with a tie game.
Chris, in the third row on the right.
With Brian, is that something you talked to him about before the game that you can, any sort of warning it could be shorter?
No.
And how do you think he took it in the moment?
I'm the moment frustrating, I bet, but then I talked to him. Hey, you just got to be ready for the next one. This October baseball day is different.
Be ready for Saturday.
Maybe here, Jen on the left.
Just with Whitlock there, I think that the most pitches he's thrown all year, and I know you kind of were relying on him a lot there, but what did you kind of see in those final batters there?
They put good at bats. The walk to Jazz, I don't know where that pitch was, and then Wells put a good at bat, just hit it down the line, and that happened. But it's one of those that at that point we were trying to win that game, and it didn't happen.
You're going to go in the back to Duke.
Alex, on the broadcast, they seem to think that
Duke!
Nate could have scored when the ball gets away from
Get Bobby
Rice.
out of here.
What did you think?
That's their opinion. I think it's easy from up there say that he should have could have scored. They're not down there with us.
Yeah. On the left, Gabe.
Standing behind his third base
What's your
coach.
pitching plan for tomorrow?
Connolly's going to start. Yeah.
And how do you feel the bullpen will be tomorrow with regard to guys like Garrett?
We'll check with Witt, right? Get a lot of treatment and see where we at tomorrow. But the rest, they're in good shape.
Okay, stay back there.
So there we have Alex Cora.
Didn't even rule. He
Talking
didn't even
about it.
rule Witt out.
Didn't rule him
Didn't
out.
rule him out. All
What
hands
do you
on
say
deck.
about the Eaton? What do you say about the Eaton
He was
play?
like, it's
That's
easy,
your
It's easy
opinion.
to make the call from there, but down here, it's different. I agree to an extent. It really is bang bang, and it's so hard to tell how far that ball gets away. If that just rolls 2 feet and you run into that final out and you're thrown out by 20 feet, everyone's like, what the F are you doing? So,
Yeah.
I would have just liked to see him. I would have liked to see him just get further down the line there and make the call on his own. That's to me on the player. Like the third baseman's trying to read it, but they're trying to see if the ball's getting away. I don't think you're waving him in if that ball is fielded cleanly. I think that's a certain out. And everyone's like, why wasn't he running? I don't think so. But I think as soon as you
Off
see
the
it
bat,
bounce,
though, with
if-
2
if
outs, John.
he's- Yeah. I mean, look, it's ground ball to second. It's like
Up the
if that
middle,
ball-
deep
Up
and
the
deep to
middle, he's
second.
diving
What I'm
into the
saying is,
outfield.
if that throw from Chisholm hits him square in the chest and he's still safe, and he turns around, he throws home, and Eaton's out by 15, 20 feet. You know what I mean? It's like you got to see that thing move. So to me, Eaton has got to be looking for it.
He's got to be looking somewhere. He looked like he was looking down.
And the second that thing hit, he can't hesitate. He's just got to go.
Skill. It's base running. It's speed. So it's not low turning third.
That to me is like you have to have that mindset. He should be thinking, this thing hits the ground, I'm gone. And he saw it and froze too. And the third base coach was a little bit stuck. It was unfortunate.
I just think you're an aggressive team. You're a team that's taking some risks here, even in this game. Pulling Bayo, letting Crochet go the way he did. I think you're taking a risk there, and it's tough when you lose by one because it ends up squarely focusing things on that play. You got a lot of outs from the bullpen in this one. Everything lined up for the most part. You just screwed up 3 or 4 plays that probably put you in position to win this game at the very least, or you go in extra innings or whatever it would have been there. You didn't pitch Chapman tonight. That's good in case you need him tomorrow. Other guys should be in decent positions to throw again, as we said here.
Yeah, I mean, you're throwing a kitchen sink at it again. It's another kitchen sink game. You're hoping you can get 4 or 5.
I hope these lefties are ready to hit, though. They've been sitting on the bench for a couple of games here, and now hopefully they're all rolling and starting.
I want to see get Abreu in there, get Yoshida in there, and let's there's a
you
little
feel
bit
better
you feel
about
a little
that
bit,
lineup.
Feel a little better about the lineup for sure. Jimmy, final thoughts before we wrap?
Final thoughts with that. Felt like they just let this one get away. I still think the Red Sox are the better team. That's why that's why I'm picking them tomorrow. But I think the one thing we learned is you have to take advantage of situations that you're in, not screw them up, which means base running, which means timely hitting, which means just the fundamentals. They are not good enough to leave men on base because they don't get enough men on base with this lineup, and that's not going to change. I don't think so. That's my final thoughts.
All right,
John,
we will be back tomorrow. What's that?
You got them winning tomorrow?
I don't know.
Yeah, John.
I feel okay about it. Honestly, I'm not. It's not doom and gloom. Because I don't think that much of the Yankees either. I really don't. So I have some faith in the kid who's going to be able to hold it on there. And if it gets close, I feel okay about their chances. But we'll see how it goes. We'll be back. We promise. Again, Game 3. Here we go. Another post-game show after that. And who knows? Maybe we continue on into the ALDS. That would be a lot of fun. So we're gonna keep doing some version of this show as long as the Red Sox are alive. Hopefully it extends past tomorrow. Thank you guys for watching us here on the Fenway Report.
We'll talk about it.
We'll talk about a quick shout out again to our sponsors, Prize Picks, #1 daily fantasy sports app in North America. Download the app, use code CLNS, get 50 in your lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks run your game and take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Code CLNS, $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. Once again, the Red Sox lose 4-3 Game 2 of the wild card series against the Yankees. We are going to tomorrow, Game 3. Sox Yankees, winner moves on, loser goes home. We will be here after the game. We hope to see you guys there. Take care.